The Lotus Emira is a surprisingly controversial car, and for those who don't know, I actually own my own 2024 Lotus Emira in Atlantis Blue with the sport suspension and the 6-speed manual transmission. But what happens if you have a budget of around $23,000 or $24,000 that you have to put toward mods to fix whatever issues there are with the Lotus Emira? That's essentially what we have here. This is the Lotus Emira owned by my friend Dan, and we're still powered by the 3.5 liter supercharged Toyota V6. That's a 2GR FE engine, which is rated at 400 horsepower, 310 pound-feet of torque, but it's actually rated pretty conservatively from the factory because on the dyno, these are putting like 380 at the wheels, and according to Dan, the Evora GT on the same dyno was putting out closer to 360 to 370 range, even though that has a 400 RPM higher redline and is also rated at 416 horsepower versus this 400 horsepower. And keep in mind, the peak horsepower, peak torque occur right at the redline here. We have double wishbone front and rear with the, of course, bonded extrusion aluminum chassis that Lotus innovated, normally weighing in around 3,200 pounds, but with the weight savings here, Dan has his car under 3,100 pounds. Market value for these is usually around 90 to 100K. MSRP is a bit over 100K, and of course can go up from there depending on how you option it. Now, the mods he chose, he has the JB4 Piggyback 93 Octane Map. So it's claimed to give you 460 wheel horsepower, 396 pound-feet of torque. So it's giving you an extra 90 horsepower to the wheels over stock. We also have a third cat delete, which you'll definitely hear when we start driving. Now, what I'm very excited to test out are actually the coilovers, because he has Ohlins TTX. Those are $10,000 just for the parts, and custom spring and valving here. So 500 pounds in the front, 800 pounds in the rear. That's a 45% increase in the front and 22% increase in the rear versus the OEM spring rates in the sport suspension option. We also have these custom CE28 homage wheels. They're 19 by 9.5 in the front and 20 by 11 in the rear, with a 275 section width in the front and a 305 section width in the rear. That should also help the handling balance because from factory, a little bit under tired at the front and we get a bit of push. So in this setup, we have 30mm wider rubber in the front and 10mm wider in the rear. In terms of brakes, we have gyro disc rotors paired with Project Mu HC Plus on the street, and he actually likes to use the Paget RSL 29s when he goes on track. And shout out to Darkworks, they actually make a lot of these mods for the Emira. One of the mods that he actually co-developed was a parking brake relocation kit in case you want to run 18-inch wheels on the track. And if you're wondering how he saved all that weight, we have these Tillet B10 seats, anti-gravity lithium battery, custom wheels. And by the way, these custom homage forged wheels actually save 13 pounds total versus the stock's forged wheels, which is already 25-ish pounds lighter than the stock non-forged wheels. So quite a lot of unsprung mass that's being saved here. The total weight savings is over 150 pounds. And also gotta love this front splitter, side skirts, and the rear gurney flap, I think, all in carbon. It's very tasteful. It's essentially, you're taking that European or British sports car and giving it some JDM flair. Gotta love the look. Now, the stock seats in the Emira are kind of trash. And these buckets, last time I drove them, they didn't have the padding. They were already very comfortable. Now we have the padding, and they're feeling great. Of course, the theater of that start button with the cover. Got a little phone cubby right there. Now check this out. The valve controller is normally this little remote that you have that people tuck away here or here. But what Dan did is he set up this custom remote thing that you can swipe here to go fully open with the valves, or closed, or go into OEM, which is based on RPM, the throttle position, to open or close. And then also there's a location-based version where, let's say you're at Laguna Seca and you don't want to blow sound, you use GPS and pinpoint the location, and every lap it'll actually close the valves as you approach the sound booth. Super cool stuff. Now the bucket can of course be raised or lowered, and he has it towards the higher end. He's a bit shorter than I am. If it was my car, I'd probably lower it, but I'm already feeling in a better position than stock, feeling already a little bit lower. Custom shift knob here, and he also has this, I guess, boot relocator kit, so you can have fully exposed shifter linkage here without the mesh or anything, which is more similar to the Emira concept that first debuted several years ago. We're going to put this into track mode. And we're off. Wow, already steering absolutely chattering away. Much more so than in my Emira. Wow, all right. There we go, I believe it. 90 more horsepower to the wheels. And you can actually extract more power out of this, 500 to the wheels, he was saying. But this is already plenty. You have a more than healthy power to weight distribution. All right, a little bit underdamped here. He actually softened it because this is such a bumpy road, but oh, beautiful throttle response. My God, this is peak Emira, guys. This is phenomenal. The suspension is so level. The damping quality is excellent, as you would expect with Ohlins TTX. Short shifting it there. We have so much power. I'm not quite able to get to redline yet. Wow, yeah, this suspension is phenomenal. Again, I'd probably add another click to the dampers, especially at the rear, but you have this speed to the damping, you have this smoothness and fluidity where you don't have harshness, because even though the spring rates are higher, it's actually not just spring rates, it's actually more the damping quality that controls how crashy and harsh your ride is. So yes, this is firm, but it is damped so well that it's not punishing at all. Like, I do not mind driving this car. It is not overly stiff or uncomfortable, despite being far higher spring rates than the stock, because you have such excellent damping. And the already excellent chassis communication and feedback from the stock Emira is now leveled up as a result as well with these top shelf coilovers. Let's give you a pull. Ho ho ho! There's a little bit of lag in the display, and the display lag means that you need to shift before you actually see the gauge hit 6,800 RPM, otherwise you're going to hit that soft limiter. But good Lord, you do not need any more power than this. When you're driving slow around town, the brakes in the Emira can feel overly touchy, and if you guys have ever done sim racing, there's like potentiometer brake pedals where it's based on the position and there's no added resistance as you push. And then there's the load cell, or the hydraulic pedals, which are more closely simulating what you experience in a real car, whereby it's more pressure rather than just position. Now obviously all real cars, hydraulic system, it is pressure based, but based on how it's designed, the brake boosting, etc., it can feel more potentiometer based rather than fully just pressure based. And I think Porsche does a phenomenal job here of making it feel highly pressure based, very little position based, which makes heel toe and just brake input require no learning curve. Whereas in the Emira, it feels more directionally in that potentiometer way, which means you have to be more careful with the brakes and more mindful to get smooth heel toes. But when you start pushing the car harder, it actually feels more natural. It's more when you're driving slow. Oh, beautiful. Oh, that mid-engine balance, giving it some throttle. You can feel that hint of rotation at the rear. Oh, what a car, man. We're running Vitour P1 tires, which I actually have on my ND3 Miata as well, which I track. And with those tires and some brake mods, I already saved like 2 seconds, more than 2 seconds. I think 3.2 seconds at Laguna Seca recently. And if you guys want to check out Vitour Tempesta P1 tires yourself, which are now in a lot of independent testing the top shelf 200 treadwear tires in terms of performance, you can find those with my $50 coupon on your first order, linked below. My God, this is peak Lotus Emira. Popping out a third. A little double clutch into second because this gear shift can be a little bit finicky in the Lotus Emira. But I feel like Dan's example feels a bit better than mine. The QC isn't always the most consistent with Lotuses. And you feel more mid-range as well. It's not just at the top end. But this added power is so welcome. Any more than this, it would feel like a handful. This is now properly quick. larger bumps, you're getting more than just one bounce. But again, you can quickly fix that just by adding another click or so on the dampers. With so much better body control, you don't have as much, you know, from factory, the geometry doesn't have much anti-dive and anti-squat, so even with the sport suspension, you do feel the car move quite a bit around, and you know, you can argue that's a feature, but it's also kind of a bug, right? Where you can feel the car move, and each independent corner is communicating what it's doing to you, as the chassis is very stiff and the suspension has this compliance. But here you're now getting, I think, a suspension that is more closely matched to the chassis, and you still retain that excellent communication. You can still feel exactly what's happening, but you have it more buttoned down, more immediate, and just overall better body control. One more pull. You gotta go based on sound, because otherwise you're gonna hit that soft limiter because of that display lag. This thing is properly quick. This gear shift is also just so satisfying. It has this mechanical nature. And that sound, it's not quite gated manual shifter level, but it's not too far off in terms of that sound and just the satisfaction you get. So almost all but one of the main issues I have, and I think many people have with the Lotus Emira, has now been resolved here. That one remaining issue is, of course, the red line. So we still have the stock red line of 6,800 RPM. This is the same engine as the Lotus Evora GT, so why can't they put 7,200 RPM? A lot of people are hypothesizing that it must be related to emissions, but there are other options on the market to raise that red line, but then again, you have to worry about warranty, etc., and added risk, even though a piggyback tune is also gonna void your warranty, obviously. But everything else, apart from the red line on this car, is really addressed here. Yes, you can nitpick the brake pedal just a little bit, but again, once you start driving it hard, it really falls into place and feels natural. The steering here is even better. I already love the steering in my Lotus Emira and in most other Lotus Emiras that I've driven. But this one, I mean, with the tire setup, the tire and wheels, plus the, you know, alignment, it just really has come alive. I'm not sure if he has the added lower control arms for additional camber or not. I'll put the alignment settings down in the description. But the added power here, I mean, the seats, these are phenomenal seats. You sit better, you have better support, and they're actually more comfortable too, which is hilarious, because normally there's a trade-off between that support and comfort, but these are just phenomenal. Carbon fiber trim pieces, also, of course, a nice touch, goes with the seats and also the exterior, like lips, side skirt, and little spoiler there on the back. So now I'm getting, of course, some inspiration for what I want to do on my Lotus Emira. But my friends, let me know what you think of Dan's Emira. I am blown away. Let me know with a comment down below. And if you want your car reviewed, visit us on jabalandcars.com. Fill out the form on the homepage. Much love, my friends, and I'll see you all in that next one.